Here he is, the man with the plan and the gold in his hand, Tony Hammack.
Wow. They're getting better by the week, Matt. Thank you. What a great introduction. Well, hey, thanks for viewing in, all you folks out there in Axe Media Group land. Hopefully you're safe. Mother Nature has thrown us another little taste of winter and stuff, at least here in Springfield. I had a little snow in my yard this morning, very little. And I don't get much sympathy from my buddy up there in Minnesota with National Gold Consultants, because they've got about 20 inches on the ground or something where he lives. So, I can't call him for any sympathy. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I tell you what, I'm really excited this morning. You know how I do it sometimes when we have a person that I want to interview, if their time is limited, and this gentleman's is, because he is very, very busy. But I'm going to bring him on first here in a minute, and we'll have a couple 25, 30 minutes talk with him, and then he's got to run, and then I'll do some of the housekeeping that we normally do with the different prices and updates and the reading and all that kind of good stuff. So without any further ado, I am so tickled. I've got Mike McMillan on the line. Mike, you with us?
Yeah, Tony, right here.
All right. Well, Mike's up in Columbia, Missouri, and Mike and I have known each other now for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, give or take. And we've done a couple of different little business ventures together. And for those of you that remember the first radio show, we actually had Mike on once with that to talk about some health-related issues and products and stuff. But in the meantime, he and I have both gotten into gold. And if you recall, last week, for those of you that tune in weekly, and if you're new to the show, last week I was talking about adding a new company to my portfolio that allows people to buy gold in as little as a gram. Now, that's kind of small. I mean, a gram of gold, I think there's 31 grams in a troy ounce. And right now, I think they're probably somewhere around $58, $60, somewhere in there. I might be off by $1 or $2 or something like that. But anyway, so I was talking to Mike the other day and said something about it. And, he was thankfully available for a few minutes here. So I'm going to quit rambling. Mike, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Sure, Tony. I got involved in this company called Karatbars. It's out of Stuttgart, Germany. The founder and CEO, Harold Seitz, wanted to put gold in the hands of the masses because, he knew that currencies around the world were being devalued. And so just saving in dollars was a bad idea. And so he developed the company called Karatbars in 2011. And it's grown to such a degree that it's one of the foremost upcoming gold companies in the world. So basically, you're saving in small increments because most people can't go out and buy an ounce of gold. So, like Tony says, you can save in as little as a gram of gold a month, and they've got a couple other products: 2 gram, 2.5 gram, 5 gram, and so now you're preserving your wealth in gold, because if you've ever looked at, like, let's say buying groceries, years ago you go in, you could get a whole cart full of groceries for $50, and now, my gosh, it's just a couple items. But you take that same gold, and go back and buy it. It's preserving your wealth, and so Karatbars has made it pretty easy for you to do that. And, the one thing, though, you have to be invited by an affiliate, which Tony and I are. So you'll want to contact Tony to get his link to join, because you have to be invited. Okay, that's just the bottom line. You have to be invited to join. But it's free to join. You can join as a customer or you can join as an affiliate. It's free. And, the prices of this gold compares to anything else you can get online, APMEX, wherever. You do your research, and you'll find that these products are second to none. They're 24 karat, 49 pure gold, LBMA certified out of the Nader refinery. It's shipped with FedEx, and so and a lot of security goes into these gold grams. It's not like let's say you order a gram of gold, and you can store it there too for free. So like let's say every month you're ordering a gram of gold, you can wait and get them after a year or whatever. 12 grams, have it shipped to you from Germany, certified FedEx. And as gold goes up in value, now your portfolio is going up in value. And each one of these grams, like I say, is 49 pure 24 karat silver. It's a little bar that's embedded into like the size of a credit card. Very classic, very nice. If any of you have ever saved in gold or you get online, you know what I'm talking about. And I might mention though, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just the basic plan, is save your wealth in gold. But here's the kicker: if you sign in as an affiliate, which is free, okay, you can turn your friends on to this and start earning commissions, get them involved, and so it's a win-win. You should have gold. What percent of your portfolio should be in gold? That's really up to you. I'm not a financial advisor, but I like diversification, and part of the reason I got into Karat bars was to be able to diversify into gold, and I might as well get paid to do it.
Well, I know
I'm helping my other friends.
Yeah, I know you'd like to get paid, and Mike's also very, very experienced in the cryptos, which we may or may not have time to get into later on towards the end of our talk and stuff. But for those of you that have already had your interest piqued, if you want more information, my website for Karat bars is www.gold2020.money. So www.gold2020.money, and that will take you to their page to get some additional information straight from Stuttgart. One of the things I liked, Mike, about this was, one, there's a bunch of options once you get involved, but if you just want to keep it simple, a person, like you said, can join for free. They can be just a customer, and they can get on a plan. Last week I was talking about trying to get a gram a month, or for those that were a little bit more ambitious, maybe a gram a week. And then for the guys that are really ambitious, they could get a gram a day. At that point, they might just want to be thinking about an ounce a month and stuff like that. But do they have programs where they can have a systematic approach?
Well, yeah. Since Karat bars was founded in 2011, they're growing exponentially because of everything that's involved with them. Last year, they went from 500,000 to 900,000 affiliates. It just shows you how fast people are jumping into what Karat bars is offering.
400,000 in 1 year?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And that's just by invitation. Okay, so you guys, when Tony gives out his address again, make sure you write it down, whether you decide to do it today or a year from now. But to back up and explain why this is becoming so popular, because people are saving in gold and they're getting paid to help people save in gold. They have an affiliate program. You can get different packages that allow you to do the business, and basically it's kind of like network marketing, but I basically just share the story, and people understand the value of gold, and when they know they're getting the support and training from people like myself and Tony and other affiliates, it becomes basically kind of just a sideline business. You still do your regular job, but then you're out there, you're just talking to people, hey, have a business card, you say, hey, I'm saving in gold and get paid in gold. Is that anything to interest you in?
Well,
and I tell you what, the people come on board.
Hey, earlier, and I'm sorry, I was a little distracted. I had a kind of a little family fire I was trying to put out with texting there. So I got it put out, if you can believe that. The wonders of modern technology. Thank God for my wife. We just had our 13th anniversary on Monday. But anyway, what I was going to say is you kind of mentioned a little bit about buying groceries and inflation and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the audience that tune in weekly and stuff like that, or they've been here before, you know, they've heard me use a couple of examples. Like, for example, you know, let's use gold. Let's forget silver for the minute. Let's just say gold. In 1965, the one I like to use, Mike, if you'd had $10,000 and you'd bought a house, okay, you'd bought a nice little ranch, probably 3-bedroom, 2-bath, you know, maybe 1,000 square feet, whatever, and but nice and stuff like that. Today, according to the real estate facts and stuff like that, that house would probably be worth about $80,000. And if at the same time you had put your $10,000 in gold, you'd have bought back in 1965, I think it's something like 231 ounces back then, because I want to say it was like $35 an ounce or something. But and I'm going from memory, folks. But today, those 231 ounces, or I believe that's the number, would be worth over $400,000. So,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, there's other, you know, kind of illustrations that I've used before on the show and stuff like that. But as far as gold is concerned, what are some of the trends or the factors here lately that make gold more interesting than before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because if you follow what I follow, it's rather disturbing to find that over in Europe already they've got negative interest rates. That means if you put your money in a bank over there, you're going to get less in your account the following year. You're paying them to hold your money in a bank. And that same low interest, negative interest rates, I believe, are coming to the U.S. You can, if you get on, you can hear President Trump say, hey, tell the Federal Reserve, you know, the rates are too high. We need to compete. We need negative interest rates. That's happening right now. And so what that's going to do is devalue the dollar further. And if you get on any kind of a chart, you can see that gold is into a new bull run, and the dollar is going to continue losing its value. And, you know, it just the powers that be do not, you know, they don't want you to get outside their system. They don't want you to be successful. And
they want us to keep using.
Disturbing.
They want us to keep using their fiat currency, huh?
Yeah, imagine that. And
well,
but now here's the other thing.
Yeah.
Let me mention this, because this is what I really like about Karatbars. They are moving beyond just a gold savings plan. Tony had mentioned cryptos. Well, what they've done is they hired some of the best developers in the world to do their blockchain, and that's a function that makes it even more private, even more secure, and they're coming out with laptops and phones with voice over blockchain protocol, which means they can't be hacked, they can't be listened into. And so these are just some of the products that they're diversifying into. Yeah, it's a gold-backed company. They got gold mines in Guinea, Madagascar, and Brazil, but they understand the value of privacy. So
not VoIP, not VoIP phone, but VoIB, as in boy, blockchain.
Voice over blockchain protocol.
Oh, there we go. VoBP.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the
I'm not technically savvy enough to explain exactly how it works.
You've got some technology in you. I know that from working with you before and stuff. But you know, that's really neat because of the security. I mean, you know, just the other day I use Kaspersky for my computer, and I was doing something, and all of a sudden it popped up and it said malware, Trojan. And if I hadn't had that on my computer, you know, I would have, I guess, downloaded that and had a mess. But
every day in the news, you're hearing somebody getting hacked. Was it Jeff Bezos?
Oh yeah,
got hacked by, and so
the prince.
You know, if you can appreciate how early adopters we are with Karatbars, I like to think of investing in Karatbars as kind of like an e-commerce company, like we're buying Apple Computer, AT&T, and Amazon for pennies. That's kind of where I think we're at with this.
Well, you know, this morning, knowing I was going to have you on the show, I got up early and I was doing a little research, and I was looking at, you know, the trends with gold and some of the forecasts such as they are for 2020. And I mean, there's a lot of big time analysts that think that gold's going to go over 2,000 this year, and a couple of them are thinking that within a couple of years gold may be over 5,000 an ounce. I mean, it's going to be volatile between here and there. It's not going to be a straight line, but it's you know, expected to go up in value. And I got to tell you, one of the things I like, and Mike, let you, once I, you know, get this out there, let's see what your thoughts are, is, you know, on the show, I've always talked about gold and silver. But the reason I talk about silver is if we did have something catastrophic happen, you know, you don't want to walk down to the corner store to get groceries with an ounce of gold, you know. And because right now it's what, you know, $1,570. What's the guy going to do? Shave off a few, you know, scrapes of the gold or what, you know. But the thing I like, and with silver, the reason I was always talking about that is if you had an ounce of silver, you could put a couple ounces in your pocket, go down to the store, pay for your groceries. You know, it's a little bit easier form of currency. But with carat bars, if you've got a gram of gold, and I got to tell you, they deliver this really neat. It's on a kind of a credit card format, if I remember correctly. But what are your thoughts about that convenience?
Oh, well, you just touched the tip of the iceberg, Tony. Yeah, and I'm a big silver bug too. But here's the thing: Carat Bars has developed an entire ecosystem where you can exchange your dollars into cryptos or into gold. They've got a K-Merchant plan where if you're a business owner, you can work their plan, and you're not paying the 4% MasterCard fees, and so. You can basically take physical gold and now digitally send it to anybody you want. That's the premise of this. And it's all secure because it's on the blockchain. And I understand a lot of your viewers probably are not aware of what we're talking about with the blockchain and cryptos, but actually you need to start learning this because blockchain is going to be bigger than the internet and computers combined. It's basically Internet 2.0. And Carat Bars is the forefront of this. They are the tip of the spear, and that's why they're growing so fast. So, you know, you might give out your address again, Tony. People need to be writing this down.
Yeah, it's www.gold2020.money. And I found that extension there. You know, everybody goes either .com or .net or .org or something like that, but there's now .money, Mike. And so I picked that one up. So gold2020.money. And I know, Mike, you have already kind of mentioned a few things about the income potential. But I guess what I'm curious of is how quick can that happen? In other words, if somebody, let's say, got on board and got their first few grams, and then they decided, hey, you know, I do want to share this with my friends and family and, you know, people at work and everybody else on my social media and stuff like that, how quick do they get paid if they get somebody to, you know, buy some gold?
Well, they get paid every Friday and at the end of the month. So you get, you know, if you're generating income every week, you're getting paid every week. And they have a MasterCard has gotten on board, and then they've vetted Carat Bars. You can send away for your MasterCard and then have commission sent right on that. Or if you're getting it in gold, you can store your gold on Carat Bars. You can exchange your gold for cryptos. You can have your gold physically delivered with FedEx. Now, when people and like I say, it's if you join today or anytime, doesn't matter. As long as you have Tony's link, you can join as an affiliate. That's important. You could be a customer, but no, be an affiliate. It's free. Now, here's the thing. If that's all you do and you forget about it, and a year later, you know, we've built a team underneath you, all you got to do is go in and get a business package. I recommend doing it right away. And then they have different ones for affordability depending on what you could pay. You know, they call it the bronze, the silver, the gold, or the VIP. And it's just basically how much you want to earn in, income. When other people, and like I say, it's if you join today or anytime, doesn't matter. As long as you have Tony's link, you can join as an affiliate. when you get other people in or people get placed below you, they're generating not only direct commissions, okay, but also units. Basically, Karat Bars has a dual team level, like you build a left side and a right side. And as people below you get in, you're generating units. So basically, when either side's getting enough units, you're getting paid as often as that happens. So,
well, you know, the devil's in the details, and since we're on the Acts Ministry station, I don't want to have anything to do with the devil.
yeah, I agree.
And Matt even laughed on that one. But, you know, one of the things that dawned on me as I was listening to you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if somebody has connections, friends, you know, business associates, whatever, in any other country in the world, isn't this a global opportunity?
Boy, I love these leading questions, Tony. You're a master. Yeah, they're in over 140 different countries now.
So,
and
so you're telling me if you had somebody in Nigeria, for example, I'm hoping that's one of them, Africa, let me do it that way. I know Africa's been coming on strong. If you had somebody in Africa that you knew, you're telling me living here in southwest Missouri, you could get in contact with them, have them check it out, and then if they wanted to either buy gold as a customer or share gold, you know, as a distributor, you could do business with them in Africa.
Absolutely. Not only that, if they end up getting the K1 Impulse phone, the blockchain phone that I'm talking about,
yeah,
you can use encrypted satellite service for like €6 a month, and talk to them completely, encoded.
Well, and do
the business.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, because you know this conversation, we're jumping all over the place, and I know Mike's got to take off here in a little bit, and Matt's kind of walking around. He's going to be doing the golden microphone here at some point, I think, and all this kind of stuff. But they are bringing out a phone and a laptop that'll have the technology that will make them private. And I know Mike's kind of alluded to that a couple times, but I was on a call yesterday, and I heard a little bit more about it. And boy, I tell you what, I'm wanting to get my order in, because especially with that computer, that sounded like a really neat way to do business. We've talked about a lot of stuff, Mike. What haven't we talked about that the listeners need to know about in regards to Karat Bars?
Well, the one thing I'm excited about is they're called the Karat Bars CEM machine, Cash Gold Exchange Machine. It's like a gold ATM. And if you're an affiliate and maybe you have a storefront and you want to put one of these machines in there, you can get it and exchange Bitcoin into gold, physical gold. It'll spit out physical gold for you. That's just one of the products that's being and to see that all this plumbing has been put out right now, okay? And then we haven't even talked about the investment opportunities with the crypto, the KBC. This is the token that Karat Bars uses for the functionality of everything. And again, I don't want to bore you with the details, but it's going to be a mover and shaker in the industry. You might have read the Forbes magazine article last year that said Karat Bars is one of the top 10 crypto companies to keep an eye on, for the future.
I know you showed me that. That was pretty neat to read and stuff. And I got to tell you, you need to be careful with that high technology language, mover and shakers. I mean, the audience.
Hey, I hit my high.
Well,
that's it.
I know you folks up in Columbia, you're all cerebral with that college there in town, or a couple of them and stuff, so you got to talk real fancy and everything. But anyway, I had to poke some fun at you and everything. Mike, I got to tell you, Mike's an interesting guy. He has a day job, but he has multiple streams of income. And some of the things that he does to create income is very impressive. He's got a lot of YouTube videos out there. Hey, do you have any on Karat Bars yet?
Yeah, I've done a few. But here's the thing, and maybe your viewers aren't aware of this: the YouTube, their algorithms have slowed down, maybe even shadow banned the people like us who are trying to tell the truth. So, I would say just use your link, or just type in, carrot bars, and you're going to find a lot of stuff out there. Now, let me remind people that there's been a big smear campaign against carrot bars for the last year or so, because there's powers that be that don't want them to succeed because of the paradigm shift they're involved in.
Well,
just let that go while we're off a duck.
Yeah, and that's often the case when somebody is a disruptor of an industry, and all of a sudden the other folks that were sitting on their laurels and raking in money and all this kind of stuff, they go, holy cow, this person is, or this company is doing what? And then rather than try and beef up their service, and that's one of the things I will tell you, I've been impressed with the service so far. I was teasing Mike before we got on the air that I got to talk to him afterwards at some point today on a couple of things I found out service-wise that were really, really impressive. So, gosh, I always expect more from somebody else than I do myself, which is one of my, character problems and stuff. But, if someone's service isn't just perfect, I'm going to be, saying something and everything. And so far, I've been really, really impressed. I better knock on wood, I guess. I don't want to get, too ambitious here or anything. But, well, what is the outlook for this year? If they went from 500,000 affiliates last year to 900,000 affiliates, is there any kind of a projection on where we'll be 12 months from now?
Or even accelerated growth. I know Harold Seiss, the founder, came out with a brief video kind of outlining what's going on. But right now, at this very moment, the blockchain developers have basically taken the Ethereum code, which is the crypto code, and turned it onto their own mainnet blockchain, which basically, folks, just means that it's super speedy and super private and super duper spectacular. How are those for tech terms?
I like it.
But it's, see, the thing of it is, their blockchain protocol that all this stuff is riding on is open source. So that means other businesses can come in and do their thing, and that's going to add more value to the company and to the KBC token, and of course everything is backed by gold, and it's just a win-win-win-win-win-win situation.
Well, and speaking of winning, I think we are big winners because we got you on this morning. I know you got to cut loose here in about 20 seconds and stuff. So thank you very much, Mike McMillan from Columbia, Missouri. Not to be confused with Conway, Missouri and stuff. And Mike, thank you for taking the time to join us. I'll holler at you somewhere after lunch or something on that other conversation and stuff. But thank you. I'm so grateful you could join us.
Hey, glad to be there for you guys.
Okay.
Tony, take care, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And once again, if you want more information, you're always welcome to call me at 417-755-0700. Or you can go to www.gold2020.money if you want information in, specific to carrot bars. My normal website is www.thegoldaffiliate.com. Anyway, I know it's time for a little comment from our sponsor. Take it away, Matt.
Thanks, Tony. Can you still hear me okay?
I can, yeah.
All right. So, everybody, thank you for joining us on The New Gold Standard with the man with the plan and gold in his hand, Tony Hammock. I'm going to start saying that all the time now. Today's show is brought to you by NaturalSolutionsStore.bz, where you can get all the natural solutions you can think of, for the most part. The list is growing every day. Today's show, I want to talk about, here we go, forskolin extract. Now, while I wait for my page to load, which unfortunately takes a while sometimes, a product that I use on a regular basis is Super Hemp Balm. Now, that stuff works great. I had back pain for a long time. Well, it was for a few weeks, and I couldn't hardly move, couldn't hardly do anything. My back hurt so bad. And then Jim Whining, president of Acts Ministry, he threw me what was left of his jar and said, here, try this out, then talk about it on the air and tell us what you think. Well, we were skeptical at first, so we tried it out, and boom. Next thing you know, 10 minutes later, I'm like, wow, I can actually move around. Now, I could tell that there was still a little bit of pain there, but it was almost gone completely. And I believe that it also helps your body to naturally heal itself in the places and the areas that you have lots of pain. So talking about that for as long as I have, I won't have time to talk to you about the forskolin extract. But I'll tell you what, it says suppress your appetite and boost your metabolism with this extra strength weight loss pill. Control your carb and sugar urges and re-energize yourself with this premium herbal antioxidant product, forskolin extract. If you want to read more about it, go online to www.naturalsolutionstore.bz and check it out today. Back to you, Tony.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it and stuff. I had a chance with you doing that public service announcement that I was able to find today's devotional. You know, I really like these stewardship courses that we brought into the program and stuff, and I, if nothing else, always like to get that in because I think that brings some value to the program. And today's is Christians ought to be the most thankful people. We are recipients of grace, loving kindness, and salvation we didn't earn. How can we respond to the generosity God has showered on us? We give, while there may be some differences of opinion about how and where to give. The Bible is very clear that giving is something Christians should participate in. It's part of our DNA. Jesus has promised that when we give, we store up treasures in heaven. We have no idea what those treasures are, but it is fascinating to consider that our giving will be honored by God in a place we've never seen before. With or without reward, giving is a spiritual discipline. We find that those who are faithful in their giving are transformed into the likeness of Christ, the one who gave all he had, emptying himself and becoming a servant. God will provide, and God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that in all things at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. The Bible teaches us that God will provide. However, until we give it will be very difficult to appreciate that truth. When we look around, we'll discover those who have tasted the faithfulness of God, and there are often those who have given sacrificially. Giving is part of our Christian mission. As we increase our giving, much good will be done in our lives and around the world. And it says, offer this prayer to God. Lord, I want to see your work continue in the world. I want to bring more light, more joy, and more love into the world. And so I offer myself and all my resources to you. Show me how to give. Show me how to serve. In Jesus' name, amen. So that is today's devotional, and it looks like they're quoting Acts 20:35 for some of those comments. But hopefully you enjoy that. And, you know, we're always open to ideas and constructive criticism and all kinds of stuff like that. So, you know, if you have a comment, please share it with us. Send it to Matt or Jason. You're always welcome to send me comments at Tony@thegoldaffiliate.com. And if you have other stewardship courses that you'd like to have shared on the program, please send them our way, because I think we can't get enough of those. You know, it's just incredible what we've been given here on this planet. And I'm chuckling because as I was making my way across town this morning, one of my friends had a post that was, you know, talking about just how much of a miracle it is that, you know, we actually make it. You know, we get born and all this kind of stuff when you look at the numbers and all this kind of stuff. It was just really one of those ones. I don't know if I'm going to repost it, but it really made an impact on me. Anyway, without me rambling on that, let's get into some pricing. because I know that we've been doing that on a weekly basis, and I want to keep doing that because, if nothing else, hopefully over the course of these shows, you've found that some of these alternative assets are volatile. I mean, some have gone up considerably, a few have gone down, and you know, we've talked about before making volatility our friend, you know, by having a systematic approach to whatever it is that you're wanting to add to your savings plan. Anyway, at 9:34 this morning, gold was up $4.60 to $1,572.40. Silver was flat at $17.52. Platinum was $981. It's down $10 for the day. Palladium is up another $3. Now here's a story. Palladium is $2,385 an ounce. And remember a show or two ago, I went back to, I want to say early December, and palladium was $1,900. I mean, it has had quite an increase. And then rhodium is up another $200. And you talk about increases, rhodium's up to $9,800 an ounce. $9,800 an ounce. Now, I think the reason why palladium and rhodium have had such an incredible run here of late is I believe Africa is where the majority, if not all of the mining for these two metals occurs, and they've had a water issue. And I think in some provinces and stuff, they have actually discontinued mining for the moment until this water issue gets taken care of. And that's what's causing the run-up in prices. Because, you know, we've talked about this before. I mean, hopefully, if you're a constant follower or listener and stuff, you'll know that I have, you know, certain little truths that I stick with. And one of them is supply and demand. So if all of a sudden the supply is drying up and it's going down, you know, that demand, even if it was constant there, just by mathematics, it starts to go up. And as that goes up, it drives the price up. So that's kind of what's happening with palladium and rhodium. Let's get into the other ones now. These are by pounds. Copper is $2.58 a pound. Nickel is $5.73 a pound. Aluminum is 78 cents. Zinc is $1.02. Lead's 85. And uranium is about $24.35 a pound. Oil, a barrel of crude oil would cost you $53.17. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average, even with all of this craziness going on with this coronavirus, is up another 59 points. It's at 28,782. And, oh, just jumped another more. It's up 67 now, 28,790 as of 9:37 this morning. So, you know, speaking of the coronavirus, you know, I know that the numbers are coming in daily as far as the folks that have already passed away, unfortunately, and the number of cases both in Asia and the few that we've got over here in the U.S. So, you know, please be cautious. You know, use Clorox wipes and, you know, everything else you can think of. You know, we obviously don't want to, you know, contract that more so than it's already been contracted and stuff. I know I've read some estimates that, you know, there's a potential that 65 million people could pass away with this. And, I mean, I hope it doesn't come to that. I mean, 65 is too much, and we're already past that over in China. So, you know, just beware and be careful and so forth. I know that is something that we need to be cognizant of. As far as news from this source, can game-changing technology change the mining space? That's one story that's out there. The truth is China really won the trade war deal, and that was an interesting story. And any of these stories, I mean, I'm going to try and, with Matt's help, get it to where we can have some of these actually be on the broadcast, either both audio and video, or at least the audio and stuff like that. And because some of these folks, you know, they're the ones that deal with gold, their companies are the mining companies and stuff. In fact, the other day, I had a really interesting one I watched. I'm going to mention this to you just real quick. Danielle Caboni, who runs the interviews for Kitco, she had a gentleman on that is the president of, work with me here. Oh, wait, it won't be there. Hold on. Let me find my little cheat sheet. There it is. I want to give you the name of this company because it's kind of Metalla Royalty and Streaming. MTA is their symbol. And I believe they're on a Canadian exchange. Oh, wait, you know what? I take it back. They may be on one of the U.S. exchanges. But this gentleman was talking about, their way of doing business, and the name kind of gives it away, Royalty and Streaming. They deal in gold royalties. And apparently they were up, like 90% last year. So in 2019, this Metalla Royalty and Streaming had a pretty good year, and they've had a number of years in a row like that. And so I got to looking at, the other companies that are into this, and there's like 6 or 7 that are pretty prominent. And, basically what they're doing is they're dealing with gold royalties. From what I can ascertain, basically, and if you're in the audience and you know exactly what they do, feel free to call in and stuff like that. But it just looks to me like what they do is they go to a gold mining company that has a good strike or vein or mine that they're working and stuff, and they basically provide some financing for them with the thought that down the road, as that company is bringing new gold to the surface, they have the first dibs on it, I guess you might say, and hence the name royalties. So they are very, very successful, at least here lately, and it might be something to look at as far as an addition to a portfolio. I mean, I still like gold, the physical gold, but if you're kind of maxed out there, remember we've always talked about 10% of your portfolio in gold, maybe 1% in cryptos. It would just depend on you and your tolerance for risk and how old you were, a variety of things and stuff. I mean, everybody's a different case. It's case by case, and there is no blanket comment. But if you wanted other ways to invest in gold, this might be one of them, and that would be looking at these gold royalty companies and adding them to your portfolio. But the reason I like the physical gold is, we've talked about this a little bit in the past where, let's say your family, you guys are going to go on a cruise, and the name of the ship is the Titanic. And, you're walking the plank up there with your luggage and stuff, and you get to the top, and kind of like on the old Love Boat, there's the concierge, and he or she or both of them are, checking you in, and they're asking you if you would like a life preserver. And, if you own gold physically, you would, it'd be like, for example, you'd be saying yes, and they would give you a life preserver that you would put over your head and wear on into your cabin and store your stuff and everything like that, because you're on the Titanic. Whereas if you own gold through paper sources, which would be, let's say, stock in a royalty company or a ETF or any of these other options that are out there, but it's a paper ownership, you get to the top of that plank to get on, and they ask you if you want a life preserver, and instead of giving you a real life preserver, they give you a piece of paper. Here you go, Matt. Here's your life preserver, and you're looking at this paper, and you're like, okay, what do I do with this? And they're like, well, if we run into trouble, you need to bring that to the captain's deck and exchange it for a life preserver. And probably what the outcome of that would be, especially under a crazy emergency like hitting an iceberg. So I know that was a little out there, but that's my thoughts on, let's get gold in your hands, whether it's a carat or it's $1 million worth, it's bars, whatever it is. the neat thing about adding carat bars to my portfolio of gold companies is now we can deal with amounts as little as a carat, or excuse me, as a gram. And, so that means that people can be getting involved for, as little as $55, $60. I've got one on its way that is due. In fact, I got an email last night saying that it's coming FedEx. So hopefully by next week's show I'll have it. But, I mean, it is the neatest thing because it comes on a little credit card. I mean, it literally fits in your wallet. And, they were brilliant to do that because, we've talked about it might be wise to have some on your person. But anyway, on the credit card is the gram of gold. And I got to tell you, it's kind of small. I mean, take your thumbnail, and that's probably about the size of a gram and stuff. But, if you get 31 of those, you can cash them in on an ounce, and now you're off to the races and stuff. So hopefully some of this makes sense, and some of you are taking advantage of these thoughts. We're kind of running out of time, so I'm going to take and get back to some of the other things that we normally try and do as far as housekeeping. But remember, Metalla Royalty and Streaming. MTA is that symbol. And let's go to the gold broker. There we go. I just want to read you some of the headlines of what's coming out. Because I got to tell you, this morning, I've gotten really into things that are trending. So this morning I was typing in, what's trending in gold. And, my buddy here, Egon, has got an article out. Physical gold is eternal. Paper gold is ephemeral. And so he's one that likes to wax poetic as far as some of the history of gold and stuff. Oh, here's one that just came. This literally just hit my news feed here. Mongolia buys 14.4 tons of gold in the first 11 months this year. So that must have been talking about 2019, obviously. Let me see. Ray Dalio, we've talked about him before. He's got a new article out there, Cash is Trash, and Ray explains why you must own gold in 2020. Let me just read the first little bit here and just see what we got. It says Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, which, by the way, is the largest hedge fund in the world, joined CNBC's Squawk Box at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland on Tuesday to discuss what he's watching in the markets for 2020. When asked what investors should buy to protect themselves from the inevitable stock market volatility coming down the pike, Mr. Dalio made the following comments. You can't jump into cash. Cash is trash because they're going to print money. You have to have balance, and I think you have to have a certain amount of gold in your portfolio, or you have to have something that's hard. Dalio said, reiterating his call last year, that the precious metal will be a top investment in the years to come. You have a fiat monetary system, which means that you can print whatever amount of money you want, and that's what governments do. The depreciation of the exchange rate and the printing of money, I think, over the next few years is going to be the biggest thing. And, we've talked about that at length as far as, some of the things that are out there. Back in 1913, when they created the Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service, a dollar was a dollar. And it was backed by gold. And in 1971, President Nixon, took us off the gold standard to protect our gold reserves. We had a lot of countries that were getting dollars for something, and then they were actually showing up, I guess, at Fort Knox and wanting to exchange those paper dollars for gold. And, they obviously acknowledged that and changed it. So that's when they took us off the gold standard. And we've been off it ever since, which means that our currency, the dollar, has been a fiat currency ever since. And basically what fiat means is that there's nothing backing it. So therefore, it's the government that's telling us that it's worth something. And that's it. And so if you look at the value of the dollar today, it was 100 cents on the dollar back in 1913. It's down to where it's, about 5 cents on the dollar over those years. And, Mike, our guest earlier, was talking a little bit about that. And, I almost chipped in there, and I'd already interrupted him enough, so I kept my mouth shut. But, I was going to say, it's at 5 cents compared to what it was back in 1913. How much lower can it go? Which is what Ray Dalio is talking about. I mean, it was a little-known thing. But if you'll recall, back in December, I came in here one morning and did the show, and I talked about how over the weekend the Federal Reserve started buying repos. And I'm not talking about repossessed cars or anything like that. I'm talking about repos, which is a financial instrument that big-time banks and the Fed use to create short-term liquidity, overnight funds, that kind of stuff. And, I mean, they were buying them by the bushel load. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars, and they've still continued to. But, I mean, I thought that was a signal that, there's something going on with the liquidity of this economy and our Federal Reserve System and stuff. And I'm not smart enough to know what it is without relying on some of these pundits and experts like Ray Dalio and Egon and a few others that we've either talked about or had on the show and so forth like that. So stay tuned, because I will tell you that this is going to get interesting, especially in an election year where, in fact, that was it when I looked this morning to see what was trending with gold and silver. The things that were trending were the impact of the coronavirus. A lot of people flee to the precious metals in times of stress and uncertainty, and so that's having a little effect. Obviously, we had the scare earlier this month with the Middle East and President Trump, and we got the election year, and we've got the trade war with China, and so there's several things out there that could play as far as the price and the volatility of gold and silver as 2020 starts to unfold and stuff. But once again, if you need to reach me, 417-755-0700 or Tony at thegoldaffiliate.com. And then the website for Carrot Bars is gold2020.money, or my other website is thegoldaffiliate.com. And I just got the sign that we've just got a couple minutes, so what I'm going to do is I want to thank Jim and Pam Whining for, thinking about bringing me back on the air back last summer, and here we are. Hopefully this show has helped somebody, and especially the stewardship part of it. And I want to thank Dr. Paul Collins for, having Acts Ministry and Acts Media Group and so forth, because there's some really neat ministries going on inside of Acts. And Matt's dad runs one for veterans. There's several others that are just doing some really neat work. So with that, thank you very much for tuning in. Be safe out there on the streets, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much.